What's good, my fellow conservative friends out there? It's your boy Kevin. Welcome back to the channel. Ray Epps, the person at the center of the Fed-surrection. We have all seen the footage of Ray Epps screaming at protesters at January 6th to go inside the U.S. Capitol. It was the most obvious instance of a crime that we have seen on camera from January 6th. But for some odd reason, he was never charged with a crime. Now, Tucker Carlson has done a great job of covering this footage and breaking it down on his show. But this week, Ray Epps and his lawyer have issued a demand to Tucker Carlson asking for an apology. So we're going to be breaking this down, and we're also going to be talking about some evidence that I think is damning, that almost proves that there's something weird going on with Ray Epps and his connection with the Fed-surrection. So you're going to want to stay tuned for this one. All right, so this is the first time Tucker Carlson broke down the Ray Epps story. Let's take a listen.
That's been brewing tonight. So for weeks, as you know, the January 6th committee has been holding hearings. They've been widely covered on the other channels. We haven't seen the news value in them. But there is a bit of news to emerge from that story, and we want to get to it now. So the New York Times has written hundreds and hundreds of articles about January 6th since it happened, describing it as a riot, an insurrection. As part of its coverage last summer, the Times published a video documentary in which the Times reported that one man was actually caught on camera planning an insurrection, encouraging a breach of the Capitol complex. That man's name is Ray Epps. Now, the New York Times noted that Epps was videotaped on both January 5th and January 6th, urging protesters to storm the Capitol. Here it is.
We need to go in to the Capitol.
All right, so that's Ray Epps being filmed. He knows he's being filmed, and he's saying we need to go into the Capitol. I'm sure most of you guys have seen this footage, but if you haven't, Ray Epps himself urging protesters to go inside of the Capitol. If that is not seditious conspiracy, then I don't know what is. We have seen dozens and dozens of people charged with this seditious conspiracy, but Ray Epps was not one of those people.
Let's go! I'm going to put it out there. I'm probably going to go to jail tomorrow.
That is intent. He knows what he's doing is probably a crime. He says, I'm probably going to go to jail. We need to get into the Capitol, into the Capitol.
We need to go into the Capitol. Into the Capitol. Peacefully. Fed. Okay, folks. Grab the word. As soon as the president's done speaking, we go to the Capitol. The Capitol's this direction.
Now, in a lot of ways, that's the strangest video to emerge from January 6th.
100% the strangest video to emerge from January 6th. Now, the left will tell you that he didn't commit a crime. He did nothing wrong. He was just an innocent bystander, and that's why he hasn't been charged. And no way he was a Fed. That's what the left will tell you. And he issued a statement through his lawyer to Tucker. Tucker aired some footage over the last couple of weeks, similar footage to what we just watched. The lawyer says the fanciful notions that Mr. Carlson advances on his show regarding Mr. Epps' involvement in the January 6th insurrection are demonstrably and already proven to be false. Epps' attorney, Michael Teeter, said in a cease and desist letter sent to Fox. Okay, so Tucker, I agree, has done a great job covering this case. He's one of the few mainstream media journalists or opinion shows that have even covered this at all. The left will not talk about it, and when they do talk about it, they say that the right, that we are just these conspiracy theorists who are trying to push blame off of the people who actually went inside the Capitol. Well, I have came across some damning evidence that nobody's talking about. Nobody is talking about this evidence, and I think it almost proves that there's something fishy going on. All right, so a Politico article that I came across, and Politico is no right-wing organization. It's probably one of the most left-wing journalistic outlets that exists, says this article was written in January 2022. Ray Epps, the former Arizona Oath Keeper, this is what we need to pay attention to. At the center of pro-Trump conspiracy theories related to January 6th, intends to sit for a transcribed interview Friday with Select Committee investigating the attack on the Capitol. All right, so he was a member of the Oath Keepers. The Oath Keepers, according to their own Wikipedia page, is an anti-American, far-right, and anti-government militia whose leaders have been convicted of violently opposing the government of the United States, including the transfer of presidential power as prescribed by the U.S. Constitution. It was incorporated in 2009 by founder Elmer Rhodes, a lawyer and former paratrooper. As of January 2023, 9 members have been convicted of seditious conspiracy for their roles in the January 6th U.S. Capitol attack. All right, so we know that 9 members of the Oath Keepers have been charged and convicted of seditious conspiracy for their role in January 6th Fedsurrection. But Ray Epps, who was also a member of the Oath Keepers, have not been charged. This press release from the United States Department of Justice says and goes into detail about the Oath Keepers case. 4 members of the Oath Keepers were found guilty today by a jury in the District of Columbia of seditious conspiracy and other charges for crimes related to the breach of the U.S. Capitol on January 6, 2021. Their actions and the actions of others disrupted a joint session of U.S. Congress that was in the process of ascertaining and counting the electoral votes related to the presidential election. According to the evidence at trial, in the months leading up to January 6, these defendants and their co-conspirators plotted to oppose by force the lawful transfer of presidential power, including by amassing an armed quick reaction force on the outskirts of District of Columbia. The defendants, and here are their names, they were all convicted and found guilty of conspiracy to obstruct an official proceeding, obstruction of an official proceeding, and conspiracy to prevent members of Congress from discharging their official duties. Okay? So they were not charged with actually going into the Capitol. They were charged with conspiracy to prevent these proceedings. Now, what Mr. Epps did was 100% falls into one of those categories. Mr. Epps was supposedly a member of this Oath Keepers group, and he was doing exactly what these guys did, right? We saw him on videotape saying, we got to go into the Capitol. We got to go into the Capitol. Make your way to the Capitol. He was organizing this whole thing. He was doing what these individuals who were members of the same group that he was a member of were doing, except there's one big difference in that these guys got charged and convicted with crimes and are currently in prison. However, this dude, Ray Epps, was never charged and is free, and he's doing whatever the hell he's doing. He's not in jail. He's not in prison. He's doing whatever he wants to be doing. Why is that? Well, I think I've figured it out. We have another case going on right now as we speak. It's the Proud Boys trial. And during the Proud Boys trial, we learned that the FBI had members inside of the Proud Boys. Now, the Proud Boys is an organization that is very similar to the Oath Keepers, right? It's what the media would call an alt-right group of anti-government people, and the Proud Boys are charged with similar crimes that the Oath Keeper members were charged with. But news and information has came out in this trial that the FBI may have had up to 8 informants in the Proud Boys around the time of the January 6th riot. So during these January 6th select committees in Congress, we heard, and these accusations of FBI involvement was denied vehemently. Everybody denied these rumors. Congress denied these rumors. The left denied these rumors. The FBI tried to deny these rumors. But now we are getting news in these court proceedings that there was FBI informants inside these groups like the Proud Boys. So the question I'm asking you is, why was Ray Epps not charged? If every other member who was involved, the Oath Keepers, was charged with these crazy crimes, these heinous crimes, and Ray Epps is on videotape at the January 6th Capitol urging people to go inside, why was he not charged? Was he an FBI informant inside the Oath Keepers organization? We all remember Ted Cruz grilling the FBI, asking how many FBI informants were involved in January 6th.
I want to turn to the FBI. How many FBI agents or confidential informants actively participated in the events of January 6th?
Sir, I'm sure you can appreciate that I can't go into the specifics of sources and methods.
Did any FBI agents or confidential informants actively participate in the events of January 6th? Yes or no?
Sir, I can't answer that.
Did any FBI agents or confidential informants commit crimes of violence on January 6th?
I can't answer that, sir.
Did any FBI agents or FBI informants actively encourage and incite crimes of violence on January 6th?
Sir, I can't answer that.
Ms. Sadburn, who is Ray Epps?
I'm aware of the individual, sir. I don't have the specific background to him.
Well, there are a lot of...
You see her face? You see her face? That does not look like a face to me that is telling the truth. When she is asked,
I
look
don't
at
have
her.
the specific background to him.
That is a face
there are a
that
lot
is
of people
lying.
who are understandably very concerned about Mr. Epps. On the night of January 5th, 2021, Epps wandered around the crowd that had gathered, and there's video out there of him chanting, "Tomorrow, we need to get into the Capitol, into the Capitol." This was strange behavior, so strange that the crowd began chanting, "Fed, Fed, 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 Fed." Ms. Sandburn, was Ray Epps a Fed?
Sir, I cannot answer that question.
The next day, on January 6th, Mr. Epps is seen whispering to a person, and 5 seconds later, 5 seconds after he's whispering to a person, that same person begins to forcibly tear down the barricades. Did Mr. Epps...
So Epps whispers to this dude. 5 seconds later, he tears down the barricades and makes his way towards the Capitol.
urge them to tear down the barricades?
Sir, similar to the other answers, I cannot answer that.
Shortly thereafter, the FBI put out a public post seeking information.
The only reason, in my opinion, the FBI put out that public post saying that they want to question Mr. Ray Epps is because they knew that the optics of this were terrible. He was on footage, and if they didn't go after him, it was going to give away with 100% certainty that he was an FBI informant. Now, the left is going to say people like me are conspiracy theorists. We have no proof. We have no evidence that Ray Epps was a federal agent or working for another government agency during January 6th in the Fedsurrection. But I'll ask you this. There's so much smoke. There is so much smoke in this situation. How is there no fire? We know that the Oath Keepers, the Proud Boys, they were charged and convicted of doing the same thing that Ray Epps was doing. However, Ray Epps was not charged. We also know there was several federal agents involved and immersed in the Proud Boys organization. So you're saying there was no feds immersed in the Oath Keepers, which is the alt-right group that Ray Epps was a member of. It just doesn't make sense. There is too much evidence confirming that the conspiracy theory is probably not a conspiracy theory, but in fact, a truth. Now, the Republican majority in the House needs to hold a hearing. It should be called the Ray Epps hearing. He should be brought in front of Congress, and if he lies to Congress, he should be charged with obstruction and perjury. Now, I differ from some people on the right. I think if you went inside the Capitol, you probably should have been charged with trespassing, and you should be put on probation or fined a big amount of money, and all the damage that was done to the Capitol gets fixed via the proceeds of these fines that the people who went inside have to pay. However, there is no way you can convince me that somebody like Jacob Chansley, who went inside the Capitol and did no damage at all, should be doing 4 years in prison. This was not an insurrection. This was not seditious conspiracy. This was a riot, an unfortunate riot. Some damage was caused, and those individuals who caused damage should be held accountable, be put on probation, maybe do a month or two in jail. But you're telling me they are being charged with treason, seditious conspiracy, doing years and years in prison, ruining their lives, people who held down jobs, paid taxes, and were productive members of society. And now it's coming out that federal agents were more than likely involved, and that is sickening. That is sickening. They had so much disgust for Donald Trump. Donald Trump has been heard criticizing and condemning the intelligence community.
take on the intelligence community, they have 6 ways from Sunday at getting back at you.
And now all of a sudden we realize and we figure out that the intelligence community was involved in January 6th, which in my opinion looks like an attempt to bring down Trump forever. Why would they want to bring him down? Well, he was so vocal. He was so vocal in criticizing the intelligence community that this was their shot to take him down. There's just way too much smoke. You have too much correlation coming together, pointing in one direction for the truth to be the other direction. Let me know what you think in the comments. Is this Proud Boys case development more damning to the Ray Epps situation? I think it is. I think it proves that Ray Epps or somebody was inside the Oath Keepers organization. So let me know what you think in the comments. Make sure you like this video. And if you're new around here, hit that subscribe button for me. I love you guys, and I'll catch you in the next video.